Well, good evening. How are you? I hope you're staying home and staying well. It's hard to believe this is actually the 20th evening that I've been reading from my book, Paperboy. Yeah, we're on to the final chapter tonight, chapter 20. And really appreciate everyone who's been watching every weekday evening. And let me know if you want me to continue, because I might continue with the second book, Bread Boy, and continue the story next Monday night as well. Start again with another new book. But in the meantime, I'm going to read this evening from the final chapter of Paperboy. Actually, when we started doing this, it was still dark at this time of night. This is the first time I've been able to be outside. So I'm outside in the backyard. And so welcome. Just gone 9 p.m. in Port Stewart in Northern Ireland. And I hope you're staying well, and I hope you enjoy the final chapter of Paperboy. It's called The Last Round. By late 1977, the world was changing. Everything was in full colour now. The days of black and white were just a distant. Donny Osmond had been dumped by most wee girls, and David Cassidy had simply disappeared. Sadly, it really was bye-bye baby for the Bay City Rollers, because now it was clear that ABBA reigned supreme. Meanwhile, at school, Ian, formerly of the Tits, was going on about called punk rock. He was predicting that punk would hit the teeny bopper so hard that ABBA would be forgotten forever. Ari Maxwell was getting very excited about a new film that was coming out soon, with disco dancing and music by a group from the 60s called the Bee Gees. It sounded rubbish to me. And news about a truly amazing movie that was about to be released. Apparently, it was called Star Wars. And the clips I'd seen on John Craven's news round made Doctor Who look wobbly. Although I had never imagined it would ever happen, parallel trousers were actually going out of fashion so fast that you could get a pair for 99p in the bargain bucket in John Fraser's. Only the biggest hard men and millies were still buying them. Titch McCracken bought 2 pairs. Northern Ireland, though, was just the same. Them and us, and killing and blame. 6 inches taller, and the peace walls were 20 feet higher. It was harder than ever to be the only pacifist paperboy in West Belfast when the hatred ruled everything. It was becoming clear that the troubles would be forever, so I realised I would either have to get used to it or get out of it. I couldn't get out of it, so I would just have to get used to it. By now I had delivered thousands of papers, and my paper bag was deepest black in hue. Almac was a little older and a little yellower, but he had invested in a brand new Ford Transit van. 20th century newspaper delivery. My employer had his new vehicle painted. After several months of gathering wash me graffiti and its deepening, it started to look exactly like the old van. This was Belfast after all, hardwired to resist any apparent change. I was changing, however. My fangs had been brought under control, and I no longer had the appearance of a blood-sucking monster. My brace was binned. Sources of distraction from my paper round were growing all the time. Schoolwork was harder, and homeworks were heavier. I now had GCEs looming, and they were like 10, 11 pluses in a row. New school friends were drawing me away from the streets of the Upper Shankill more and more. I stopped going to the Westie disco every week, and on some Saturday nights I would visit friends' houses on the Antrim Road and in posh Glengormley. Families who lived in chalet bungalows and went to Spain for their holidays. They had never been to a caravan in Belial, and their living rooms showed no trace of wood chip wallpaper. When I set out as a paperboy, my dreams were of being the Doctor with the TARDIS and a long scarf, fighting intergalactic battles with the Cybermen. Now, my dreams were more likely to be of Agnetha, the blonde one from ABBA, and these imaginings were taking on a whole new narrative. Sharon Burgess had changed too. It was never the same after the Lord Mayor's show. She never did win my big brother's affections, but I let her go. Well, to be honest, she chucked me shortly after, and then she cancelled her bunty. Now Sharon got Jackie magazine and was going out with a wee lad who was taller than me and stacked shells in the co-op on a Saturday. This was a rung or two above the vocation of the humble paperboy. I survived though. For a while, the nice ladies in the lingerie section of the Great Universal Club book kept me going. Then my attention turned to new girlfriend opportunities. I found I couldn't decide between church youth club girl, chemistry class girl, or girl next door girl. I was keeping my options open. I still enjoyed being a paper boy, but the 6 nightly commitment was seriously starting to get in the way of being a teenager. The end was inevitable. Of course, I couldn't just leave, though. I needed something better to move on to. But then it happened. I was headhunted. I was approached by Leslie, the local bread man, and the Shankles leading orange man. Leslie asked me to become a van boy, not in any ordinary bread van, but in the last Ormo mini shop in Northern Ireland. The Ormo mini shop was like a cross between an ordinary bread van and a caravan. You walked inside, it was a proper shop on wheels. This was promotion. How could I turn down such a tempting job offer? Most paper boys could only dream of an employment opportunity like this. I jumped at this chance for career advancement and accepted the job. Would be a 1 day a week job, Saturday mornings only for 5 hours and twice the money. It would be a daylight job all year round, and I would be inside the mobile shop and out of the rain at least half of the time. I wouldn't have to walk everywhere. No wee hoods would be up in time to try to rob me on a Saturday morning, especially with an adult on board. And I had heard you got free Paris buns. But how was I going to break the bad news to Al Mac? I was sure he would be angry, and I was certain that Mrs. Mac would be absolutely heartbroken. I considered a written letter of resignation, but I realised that this was not Al Mac's preferred method of communication. So I decided I would tell him face to face and man to man. I would even give my employer 1 week's notice, not like the other boys who on their final day would simply tell him where he could stick his oil paper round. When the momentous day of my resignation came, it started out like any other. Al Mac arrived in the new dirty van with my 48 Belfast Telegraphs as usual. He pulled on the handbrake with a screech, and with the engine still running, got out of the driver's seat, walked around the van in grumpy silence, and opened up the rear doors to reveal a treasure trove of newspapers and glossy magazines. He then leapt into the rear of the van, cigarette in mouth, and dispensed the papers. I waited until the end of the Paperboy queue that day. Al Mac must have realised that something was amiss, because I had earned first place in the queue long ago. When the other paperboys had all gone, I finally spoke to my employer as he was cutting the familiar tight white string on my batch of tellies. I took such a deep breath that I inhaled some of his copious smoke. I'm leaving, Mr. Mac. I'm sorry, I've got too much homework to do now, and I'll be doing my GCEs. And there's nothing wrong with doing the papers. And I go to clubs after school, and I can't get home in time to do a good job anymore for you. And I don't want to let you down. But I'm leaving next week. I'll leave my paper bag into the shop next Saturday after the Ulsters. And thanks for the job. And I've got a Saturday job now instead. And I spluttered incoherently. A long concertina of ash fell from Al Mac's cigarette. For the first time ever, he patted me on the back, and his eyes sparkled a little. Aye, all right, wee lad, he said. I was a paper boy, no more. My career had just taken off like Thunderbird 3. I was a bread boy now. So it was. So there you are. That's the final chapter of Paperboy. So we'll just say hello and see what people are saying this evening. Thanks very much for joining me. Hello, Ali Bennett. I think you've been at them all, Ali. Lovely to have you along. And Alan McLean and Sadie Hannah. Hi, Connor and Gannon. Hello, Brendan. Good to have you. And Dee. Hi, Julie. Yes, you would like me to continue with Bread Boy, okay? And Marie Major and Kenneth, Ali. Hi from Lucy and Zoe and one of our three-legged cats, Gypsy. Please keep reading your books next week. Okay, I'll keep going. I'll continue the story. We'll move on to my teenage years with Bread Boy next week. So that's kind of the era. It was 1977 to about 1980. Hi, Lynn Hamilton. Yes, Dee, I'm going to continue. Kenneth, I always just seem to remember at the last second and just make it. I'm glad you made it again. Hi, Ian Parsley. Hello, Anne Kirk. Oh, I like that wee emoji jumping up and down. And thank you so much for taking the time to read each night. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to hear your next book on Monday night. Okay. Sounds like it's a deal. Hello, yes, Bruna. Yes, please. Angela, Bread Boy is a must. Angela and Keith, we were married in 1977. Okay, well, I think that will bring back a few memories. Leslie Macaulay, the lovely Leslie from up the country, who, as you probably noticed, has been bringing some light as it's got a bit dark outside tonight. Yes, please, says Jim Poole. That'll be brilliant. Okay. Hi, Nigel. And Dean Johnson, I deliver. Dean. Dean's a man who delivers, I can tell you, every time as a theatre director. Yeah, I'm actually gonna tomorrow night. I'll post a link to the YouTube of a video of the whole of the Paperboy musical, if you'd like to see the musical version, which was directed and by Dean, along with Stephen Dexter. Hi, Dave and Michael McKinley Senior and Joanne White. Lovely to have you, Joanne. Hi, Evelyn Brown. And glad you're enjoying it, Michael McKinley. Hello, Eric Graney. Long time no see. Hope you're well. Hi, Alan Sheeran and Victor McCabe. Yes, there'll be more about Paris Monday in the Bread Boy story. Hillary, yes, okay, good. I'll continue the story. You know the legendary bread man himself so well. Betty O'Riordan, glad to enjoy it. And also Francis McGrath. Hi, Margie in Pennsylvania. Yes, I'm going to continue now, Nigel. Yes, Alan, I will continue. And thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying the story. Oh, you like the wee birdhouses in the background? Those were chosen by Leslie. She's very frustrated that she can't go shopping, so she got those online, and we put those up just yesterday. So anyway, thank you very much for being with me, and as I've been telling the story, being a Paperboy, and I'll be back, I think, on Monday night at the same time, and I'll continue the story of being a bread boy in Belfast in 1977. Until then, stay home and stay positive.